Hi guys, here I am, Chakra Sessions with Polly Jo Labbé. Tried to use Be Live, some sort of technical difficulties going on there for me. No surprise with it being Mercury in retrograde, I suppose. So here I am. We'll do this the old-fashioned way, I guess. We'll go live. So welcome to Chakra Sessions. Today's show is all about navigating Mercury in retrograde. So what better thing to happen than to have the technology give me a hard time? Because that's generally what's going on, right? Because Mercury really navigates communication and connection. And so we do that as part of, a lot of it is done through technology these days, right? Through computers, through phones, through, this kind of interaction. So we really do a lot of our relationship communication energy through technology. So that's why technology is sometimes difficult when Mercury's in retrograde. So, it'd be really, really helpful if you guys could like and share this post, because we're not on the regular link today, but that's okay. That's all how it should be. My team is always clear that, when things happen a particular way, it's because they're meant to. So here we are. So happy to be here. It's been a couple weeks from Chakra Sessions. I've been busy navigating the planet. I've been teaching in a bunch of different places, which is new, exciting, and again, learning to navigate some different things as we're going through that. So I taught in Maine, in Wisconsin, in Massachusetts, and I did a workshop in Chicago, Illinois, and flew in and out of Milwaukee. So I've been a lot of places. We were kind of joking about where in the world was Polly Jo. And this weekend, I'll be in Marlborough, Massachusetts, which is Central Mass, at this really huge Natural Living Expo. Ed Langen and I will both be there, and Maureen might put in an appearance at my booth on Sunday as well. So if you want to see the Star Nations crew, you could come join us, especially Sunday, because Ed and I are both teaching workshops that day as well. So it's going to be this really interesting thing to navigate as we're in this funky energy, because we rely on technology, we rely on how well we are communicating with other people. And when Mercury goes into retrograde, we all know things can get a little glitchy. Well, then you add in the fact that we are here at this time of year, and we're heading into sort of the darker energy. The veil is relatively thin. We had a lot of new moon energy at the beginning of the retrograde. So it got off to a bumpy start. And now I'm somebody who navigates Mercury pretty well because I'm a Gemini. And Geminis, we are very connected to its, we're in harmony with Mercury, let's put it that way. So normally I don't have too many difficulties, except when I have to deal with other people. So here we are. We're having our glitchy day, but here we are. So let's see who's in the house. I know there's a few people in the house, and Neshi, hi Neshi, glad you are sharing and got the show out for me. Kristen, hello, glad to see you, glad you're here. Yes, and Neshi's saying, yay, the East Coast Star Nations crew together at the expo. Yes, we're actually doing some Power Punch stuff together over here, the East Coast Star Nations crew, because Ed and I will both be teaching on Sunday. I'll be teaching about multidimensional quantum healing and the ascension. I'm doing some brand new healing work at the expo, which will be interesting to navigate. I'll be doing ascension healings as in a meditative form, in group form, all weekend long. as well as my workshop. And then Ed is going to be doing readings for people, as well as, of course, teaching about manifesting. What else would, we need besides law of attraction from Ed, which is great. And then in 2 weeks, he and I are teaming up to teach this fabulous new class, which is really geared toward helping not only bringing in, using the law of attraction, but bringing it into the 4th and the 5th dimension. Because many of us are going through the ascension process, and manifesting in the old way is slow and tedious. And so it's time to take it up a notch. So we're combining what Ed's team on law of attraction and abundance. We're connecting with my team on how to release our blockages and energy that is keeping us from really attracting what we really want and deserve in our life, and doing it all at the same time. How cool is that? I'm very much looking forward to that. So here we are, navigating Mercury in retrograde. So, you're welcome to type in what I can't post the comments across the board because it's a live feed, but I can at least see them. So if you have comments or questions, and I will be trying to keep tabs on that. So Tina's in the house. Nice to see you, Tina. Kristen's saying she can't navigate, even though she's a Gemini. Yeah, I didn't used to be able to, but now that I'm more in balance, my relationship with Mercury is more in balance. And Jackie's here, and Brenda's here, and I think Kimberly Griffiths might have just joined us too. So I am so excited to have you guys in the house. Thank you for sharing, Kristen. She shared. I appreciate that. So yeah, it's like a power punched weekend. There's usually about 10,000 people at the expo. So personally, I usually do about 200 healings over the weekend. And so the fact that I'm going to be doing group healings should be interesting to see what that turns into. But I'm excited. So how are we going? Oh, Marie. Hi, Marie. Glad to have you here too. So how do we navigate Mercury? Well, first of all, we need to have some skill sets. And sometimes one of the best things is to just know that this can be a glitchy time, and give ourselves more time. Be prepared for, possible little snafus to happen. I was prepared for something to happen. But 10 minutes wasn't enough time to deal with what was going on with Be Live. That's okay. It is what it is. That's how these things work sometimes. But I also knew that this was plan B, like get it onto Facebook Live, and that's how we would deal with it. And I can figure out the glitches later, like my regular camera not working. So this is my computer camera. So if it looks less than sharp and bright, I'm sorry, but hey, it's working, right? The other thing is to know what helps keep you grounded, what keeps you in balance, so that the energy of retrograde doesn't yank on your energy field. And so my team was discussing how the retrograde energy works in terms of our energy field. So when we are connected to energy in the past, if we're thinking about, past memories, and we are in that kind of time frame where we are having nostalgia about the holidays and things like that. So when we're caught in that past energy, retrograde actually pulls our energy even more backwards. So we're a little bit out of the present moment. So you can imagine if you're not really present, you can just think of this as like, I think of that old doll, and this is going to date me. There was a stretchy doll called Stretch Armstrong. And Stretch Armstrong, right? You could pull and pull and pull, and then bring back. So when we're thinking about the past, or we're worried about the future, we're being stretched out like that. And when we're stretched out like that, there's very little of us left that's right here in the now. Does that make sense? So in the right here now, you've only got like this much energy, you know, like maybe 10% of your energy is in the now. And you've got like 50% in the past because you've been thinking about the holidays and all the traditions and the memories of people who aren't here any longer or that kind of thing. And then maybe you've got some energy in the future of like, oh, what am I going to cook, or who are we going to get together, or what time should we have it? And you can hear that, right? You can hear how I've got the past and I've got the future all going on while I'm talking to you right now. And I can actually feel that energy leaking out of my body so that I'm less present, less grounded. And it's good, right? Because when that happens, we have an awareness of our energy is getting stretched too thin. And how often have you said that around the holidays, right? That, you know, we've overwhelmed ourselves. We've booked ourselves too much. We're lighting the candle at both ends, that kind of thing. And when that happens, our energy isn't in the present. So that little tiny fragment that is in the present is getting pushed backward energetically because retrograde, it's got a pull, sort of a backwards pull on the planetary energy. So it's actually encouraging us to put our energy into the past. And then if we're not here, grounded, present in the moment, we don't have enough juice to not get knocked off balance. Now it sounds kind of complicated, but if I had a really good graphic person, I'm sure they could draw it for us. But maybe you get the sense of what that means. And I noticed a couple other people are here. Roberta's here. And Kristen's feeling like things are looking up. And yes, there's a lot of triggers that are going on. Rochelle is here, and Deb and her are listening. Thanks. And Tina said, that's me. Yeah, that we get knocked off balance. So one of the things that can help us stay present is something we've been talking about up and down and sideways at Star Nations for the last few months, which is make sure you're grounded. So let's just take a moment right this second to see how grounded we are. And I'm just going to do a quick ground with you. And I just want you to put your hand on your heart and take a deep breath in and blow out, making some noise. Can you feel how some energy just dropped off of you, how you're more relaxed? And you can do that a couple times because that really connects you to your higher self, and it makes room for spirit to come in. Inspiration is when when we take a breath in, we're inspiring. So we are bringing spirit more into ourselves. And if we're not here in this moment, then we're not connected to the divine, and we're not having spirit fill us and help us navigate. So you guys all know that. So Kristen said hi, and Tina said my head tingled. Yes, because your crown opens when we do that, when we hold our heart and we take that big breath in and blow out. So that is so fast and so easy to be like your check-in. And when we do that, we can't help. When our heart is wide open, we can't help but be in the present moment and not getting yanked around, by the energy. And Kristen said, I had a lot of coffee, but still felt it. Yes. Caffeine can make it hard. Caffeine and nicotine, they stimulate our energy body. And so they can rev us up, which can sometimes push us into the future. It doesn't keep us in the past as much, but it's in the future. Because it's almost like our energy body is ahead of us because it's all revved up. our physical body is all revved up, so our energy body moves forward. But that's also this place where we can get a little bit out of sync. And then when we're out of sync, things like Mercury being in retrograde can really knock us for a loop. So Neshi says, here's her prescription mantra. I am grateful and accept all the blessings of Mercury retrograde and decline anything less than a gift and a blessing. I love that. That is a perfect prescription. So let's all just try that for a quick second. So take a deep breath in, blow out. I am grateful and accept all the blessings of Mercury retrograde and decline anything less than a gift and a blessing. Ooh, I love that, Neshi. That's perfect. Isn't that? I think that's just great. And normally, like I said, I don't have too much difficulty now, but today got to be the exception so that I could really be in it a little bit, so I could remember what it felt like to be caught in it. So one of the things that I found that helps with computers or phones or technology in general is this wonderful little thing that we all have heard of called titanium. There's crystals that are titanium ore, and you can put them on your device. You can wear them. I should have worn mine today. I have a titanium ore. I'm going to wear it this weekend. I have one, of course, that is peacock colored. So it's the blue and the purple and the pink are kind of mixed together in the crystal. But you can use even something as simple as a titanium screw from your hardware store, and you can place it on your computer. There's something about titanium that acts as a little bit of a force field, so it lets you have a little bit of a container, a sacred container, that can help with your devices. You know, sometimes we think about, you know, for those of us who have an active Merkaba, we may, you know, remember to use our Merkaba to keep it in harmony and in balance while we're in Mercury retrograde. But titanium is a really beautiful crystal, and even just using it in the screw or a nut or a bolt that you can keep with you, because we do hit retrograde a number of times a year. So, and it does impact us. But it really impacts our communication. And whether that communication is through the phone, it's through a computer, it's through interacting with others. It's why we often say, you know, don't sign any legal contracts or buy a big purchase like a car during Mercury retrograde, because sometimes the communication gets glitchy, and that energy stays attached to the contract. Because when we sign a contract, it's a sacred contract. So that all the energy at the time of signing is connected to the purchase through the length of time. Phew. So Roberta said she's working on moving jet lag energy, daylight savings. Boy, need to swim in grounding blend. Yes, the grounding blend helps a lot. And Epsom salt soaks are great. The other crystal that really helps with Mercury is red agate. Woo, that hit my throat chakra. Hold on one sec. So that red fire agate especially is, it's really a stone that's connected to Mercury. It's like paying regards to Mercury by using it. And so if you can get it, wow, I'm going to have to more drink. Hold on. Yep. Time for a blend. I'm going to use a blend on my throat. Um, well then, there you go. Hello, April. Glad to have you here. So red fire agate is a stone that's very connected energetically to Mercury. So by using it to honor Mercury and all the gifts that Mercury brings to us, by being connected to us, by being part of our planetary system, by being an ancient Greek god that many of us connected to in past lives. It's just, think about when we honor and respect our elders or others, that we get respect in return. And so sometimes it's as simple as saying the beautiful prescription mantra from Neshi that's, you know, paying homage to the fact that Mercury is a powerful, energetic influence on our planet. And we honor that and we thank it for how much it helps us. And we get taught a lot when we're in retrograde, because those miscommunications are often things that were needed to be said or needed to be worked on or fixed that just hadn't been done. You know, so for me having a, you know, with today's broadcast, you know, my camera wasn't working the other day and I didn't take care of it the other day. I just assumed once I shut everything down and brought it back up, it would be fine. You know what assumptions do, right? So that was showing me that I hadn't really prepared for that aspect. And I knew that Be Live had been a little bit, there'd been a few glitches. And so I was prepared for some, but maybe not as many as I could have. So Mercury really put me in the, what do you do? How do you prepare for the unexpected? And when we're prepared for the unexpected, we just can move on. We let go. Okay, it's not working this way. Okay, do it this way. It's not that way. We'll do it another way. And we can stay in our core. We can stay grounded. We can stay central to who we are, no matter what we're navigating. You know, so that's how that all goes. Hi, Constance. Nice to have you, Connie. Another show host in the house. So this pesky retrograde, the big thing is we got to stay in the present moment and we need to stay grounded. So thank you, Roberta, for reminding people that my team channeled this excellent grounding blend. And the blends that I have, it's interesting because they are meant to remind your energy body what to do. They don't do it for you. They teach your energy body to do what you want it to do and how you want to do it. So using the grounding blend is just reminding your body over and over again, one, that I want to ground, but two, I want to ground to the earth plane. And then the grounding blend recently got changed back in the springtime because there are a lot of people who are going through the ascension energy as well. And we're navigating more than one frequency, more than one vibration, more than one dimension. So we actually need to be grounded in each of those, which is a little bit more difficult than just our traditional, okay, I'm going to put my roots into the ground and we're connected. That helps us in this plane, in the third dimensional vibration. But if we are navigating in the fourth dimension at all, or the fifth, that may be not enough to hold our energy from being wobbly, because we're actually in a fuller dimension than just the third. So imagine that the string that is connecting us through the third dimension, it's one strand. When we connect through the fourth dimension, it's 2 strands. If we're connected through the fifth dimension, it's 3 strands. And how much stronger is string when 3 strands are woven together, right? Because when we weave 3 strands together, we start to make a rope as opposed to a string. So that is part of expanding our grounding, to make sure that when we are grounding, that we ask to be grounded in each and every dimension, frequency, and vibration that we are navigating at this moment. So Roberta says, wow, love you and your team for taking that out of my throat. It's been there for days. Now I'm holding my agate. Good. Well, you know, my bout with Mercury retrograde often has to do with when I have things go wrong. They're generally an indication of something that I need to fix, like I was saying. And I recently had, a lot of you know that I have a number of allergies that really came on. The more my gifts came online, the more allergies I seem to have. And I think it's just that the vibration of certain foods doesn't match my vibration anymore. And we all know that some of the food has been, you know, genetically modified and things like that, that my energy body just can't handle at this point. So on Saturday, I had a new experience where I had an allergic reaction to nutmeg. Never had a problem with it before. I have had it many times. And this time of year, well, you know, nutmeg. But it was literally the only thing it could be. And so I had an allergic reaction and I was very human about it. I didn't want to take anything much for it. I used a little bit of my allergy blend, but I was going to tough it out. It wasn't too bad. So that was probably around 6 o'clock. So fast forward to bedtime, and I got in a new nightshirt from a store, and I put it on to see how it fit. And I hadn't washed it, but I was just going to put it on, see how it fit. And I showed my husband, and I noticed it had a smell. And so I was like, you know, do you smell this? And so he smelled it, and he was like, yeah, you better wash that. So I took it right off, and he took it down and put it in the washing machine. And even just having it in his hands, he had to wash his hands because the chemical smell on his hands was so strong. And I have environmental allergies as well. And so within minutes, I was having a full-blown anaphylactic allergic response. And again, I'm stubborn. So I'm taking, you know, multiple Benadryl, and I'm using my allergy stuff, and I'm using healing energy and doing everything I can not to go to the hospital, because that was my goal, was not to go to the hospital. And I didn't that night, but the next day, the throat was still closed. My bronchioles were still closed. I was having a lot of trouble breathing. So I went to the doctor, who then sent me to the emergency room. And basically it was a reminder of, you know, sometimes we don't like what's happening. We are like, I don't want to go, you know, my inner child was like, it's 11:30 at night. I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to use an EpiPen. I don't want to go sit in the hospital for like 3 or 4 hours while they watch me. Because I'm tired and I want to go to bed. And so instead, you know, I put off my treatment, which made it worse, which made it take longer to rebound from. So I really wasn't feeling good until this morning. I wasn't sure I was even going to hold this show until this morning, because yesterday you couldn't even hear me when I was talking. So here we are, and it's that, you know, we may have trouble with communicating what we need. My body was telling me what it needed. I wasn't listening. That is also part of the communication that happens during Mercury in retrograde. So are we listening to what our body needs? Are we listening to what our inner child needs? Are we listening to the fact that maybe we need a nap, or maybe we need to have more water, or maybe we just need to say no to some of the over obligations that we've done? And if we don't, right, then things start to go wrong. And how many times have you gotten sick over the holidays? I know I've stretched myself thin so many times and that's when I used to get sick. And now I can also look at, okay, in Mercury retrograde, that's a time when I actually am more likely to get sick because I'm not listening to my body. I'm not listening to what it needs. That first allergic reaction with the nutmeg, I should have been on that vigilantly, because then maybe the second reaction wouldn't have happened. Or when the second reaction happened, knowing that it was the second reaction of the day and that this is a problem, suck it up and go and get it taken care of. So this is the type of thing that can happen just as much as our technological things. And I've seen a lot of people who are having trouble communicating with their partners or people at work. And so we can be active in the fact that with Mercury in retrograde, it means we have to be really clear, really concise about what we're talking about, how we're talking about it, and making sure that other people really understand that what we're saying, because communication is key. And again, at this time of year, when we're heading into the darker energy and the veil is still relatively thin, you've got all this heavy energy, planet-bound energy that is affecting everything as well. So I hope that kind of makes a certain amount of sense. Just seeing if there's any new comments. Nope. So here we are. We're going to use some grounding. We're going to use some crystals. We're going to connect to ourselves. We're going to breathe deeply. And remember that when our body is trying to communicate with us, this is a time when anxiety can come on really strong, because again, that's our body saying, I'm too far in the past or too much in the future. That's what anxiety is telling us. When we have anxiety, we are not in the present moment, because it is not a present moment experience. It's when we've been pulled into an unknown future, being navigated by a past history. So we're really stretched thin when we're in an anxious place. And this is the time where that can happen. Not that that can't happen all year. It absolutely can. But this is a time where there's a lot of pressure from society, from our families and stuff to do things and be things for each other that maybe we don't have the bandwidth for. So another way to navigate Mercury is to remember to say no. And that may sound so easy, but just say no when you mean it. It is so much less harmful to say no than to say yes and be agitated about it, be resentful, and then projecting all of that on other people because, we made a commitment we didn't want to make. So say no to certain stuff if you don't want to do it. I have, some people that, here we are coming on Thanksgiving, and I have a couple of people that I'd rather not see. And so I've set that intention. And part of that intention already came to fruition because this one person is like, it doesn't make sense for me to drive out for a part of the day and drive back. And great, because there's somebody who has a lot of negative energy and I just didn't want to be surrounded by that. And that's okay. right? To do what you need is okay. And also in this time frame, it's really good to say yes when you really want to do something. When you really want something and it really calls to you, say yes. Say yes to you. Even if that's yes is I'm going to take time off. Even if that yes is I'm going to go do this thing for myself. Or even if the yes is this is something I love to do and I haven't done it in a long time. Do it, because that keeps you in the present moment. That keeps your divine connection open so that you can be in the guidance. You can be connected to your team. You can navigate the sticky waters that are around you because you're being true to yourself. So when we're true to ourselves during Mercury in retrograde, when we're aware of the ways that things can come up, and that the things that are coming up, they're here to teach us. They're here to teach us little lessons about ways we could do things better. Not that we're doing things wrong, but maybe we've gotten a little complacent. I've been doing my show for a while now. So, I don't get into my production studio as early as I used to. When I was a newbie, I used to get set up and I'd sit here for quite a while, and then I started going, well, I don't need to do that. I got this down. But then you're navigating, last minute glitches. So maybe I need to take a little more time, take back some of my time beforehand so I can be in a centered, grounded place. So if things come up, I'm not thrown off my game. Does that make sense? So here we are. So I think it would be great for us to do a meditation to open up our energy field into the present moment. It's kind of how what my team is explaining it, is to call back all of the energy that we can into the present moment. Anything we've stretched into the future, anything we've stretched into the past, kind of pull it back in so that we're centered. And then from there, connecting to the Mercury energy and inviting it to dance in harmony with us. And I know I can use that. I hope you can use that because, I have a lot of things that are going on, especially this weekend, that need navigating. And there's a lot of components, working components that I want to be connected in the flow, in the moment, because then it happens with ease and grace and we don't have to worry about it. So, so Neshi's saying, getting back to live stream host basics, a good theme for us in retrograde. Yes. And Roberta says, it does make sense. Thanks for the reminders to be present and honor our inner vigilance. Yeah, I'm just speaking from where I am, or I've been in the past few days. So let's get this meditation underway. So let's take a couple of deep breaths, and you're welcome to put your hand on your heart if that really resonated for you. Let's do one more. So we're going to invite in the divine energy, however you perceive that, to connect to us and through us for this healing meditation. And we set the intention that the healing is for the good of all and harm to none, including ourselves. And we ask to be surrounded and protected in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light. In each and every dimension, frequency, and vibration that we are navigating in this moment. And we ask our energy center to connect deeply beneath us into the core of the Divine Mother, the Grandmother Earth. As wide and as deep a connection as we are able to create. And sending a grounding cord up to the divine, the center of creation, the center of our being. Yeah. Allowing our energy to be rooted masterfully in all the vibrations and frequencies that we move through in our lives. Calling in our spiritual team to join us. Our angels, our guides, our master teachers, the star beings, our animal totems, all divine, of the highest, brightest, and fullest vibrations that we are able to connect and work with. Yeah. Just asking in this moment for our energy system, our chakras, to be beautifully aligned and balanced. That our hara line, our crystalline tube, is wide enough to hold all of our chakras fully with no bends, no kinks, nice and straight. Room for all of the energy to flow easily. And taking a moment to notice any energy that we have caught in the past that is being stretched out of our now. Any old trauma, any old memories that are pulling us back, especially those accentuated by the energy of Mercury at this moment. Inviting all of our energy to come back, to reintegrate into this moment now. Feeling its center within us. Feeling the energy flow increase as we hold more of ourselves in our sacred container. And then noticing any energy that we have out in the future, in those to-do lists, in those things that might need to get done, or all the shoulds that we may have. And inviting that energy to come back into this moment as well. For all the energy of creation and manifestation happens in the present moment. Really allowing space for divine guidance to come through to help us navigate with ease and grace. Especially opening up the back of our heart chakra, where the energy can get congested with old grief or disappointment. Regret. And now we're going to invite in the energy of Mercury, honoring the beauty and the power that Mercury brings to our energy, our planet, the masterful influence that it has, asking for our throat chakras to be wide open in full communication. And inviting that energy to root in our heart so that we are communicating our heart's truth. Yeah. And then anchoring it down into our second chakra. So that all of our relationships with money, with technology, with people, with ourselves, they all flow in harmony with the Mercury energy as well. And allowing that to ground all the way through our energy system into the earth plane. Just take a moment to notice the difference in your energy field at this moment. Thanking and honoring the divine energy that has been here to help you connect, regroup, and realign with your true essence in this moment. And just gently releasing any places in your body where you feel tightness, discomfort, dis-ease. Because those may be impacted by old energy that no longer serve you. Old aches and pains. And gently moving it down your body. And now placing your hand back over your heart, we're going to take a couple of deep breaths, anchoring this energy, thanking our spiritual team for being here to assist us. So take a deep breath and blow out. Take another deep breath in and blow out. And you can slowly begin to dissolve your meditation. Notice your connection to your spirit. Wiggle your toes, rub your hands together. Just bring yourself right back to now. Nice. So, with all of our relationships, having open communication and being in harmony can be a really powerful thing. And there's a beautiful visualization that you can do when you want to create harmony with something or someone else. And that's envisioning the figure 8, the infinity symbol, going from your heart to their heart, your throat to their throat, or like with the technology, you know, me and the computer, being in harmony, seeing the connection of we're in sync, we're in balance. And you can do that even with Mercury, you know, seeing that infinity symbol of you being in connection. And that helps us remember that we're all one, we're all connected, you know, and that when we're off balance, it's an invitation to find a new ground, a new balance, and maybe to give us a little look at some things that could use changing. So, you know, Mercury gets blamed for a lot, which actually makes it a very powerful energy because it's a scapegoat, right? So we have a lot of focus on it. The full moon gets blamed for a lot too, energetically, especially if you know any nurses or policemen, you know, where they'll talk about the energy in the full moon, how it impacts people. But when you're in sync with the moon, it doesn't bother you the same way. For me, the full moon is I'm supercharged. I use all that extra energy to do a lot of healing work. I'm usually extremely busy on the full moon, the day of, the day before, the day after. I tend to have a very full book in terms of healing, and that's great, right? Because it means that people can feel the things that are out of sync. And for some people, that happens in the new moon as well. So it just depends on whether you're more connected to the moon or the sun. But we are all connected because we've connected to Grandfather Sky for eons. And it's a matter of what our traditions were in the past, what our energy likes, and how it assimilates the planetary influence energy. Because there, you know, just like there's waves on the ocean, right? That's the pull, the gravity pull from the moon going around. It's that resistance. We're made up of, you know, 80% water. So it's no surprise that we have our own waves that we are navigating. And there are times when we're crashing. And we know it. We feel those times when it's really out of sync. But we can also feel when we're in harmony and we're in a gentle flow. So that's really important for us. So April, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed that. So, you know, you have tools. Use them. Surround and protect yourself. Use psychic protection. Use grounding blends. Use titanium. Use fire agate. Those are just energetic tools to remind us of how we want our energy body to be responding. And when we do that, we're sending that signal out to our spiritual team as well. They know that we are asking them to help us take action by using that. And that can be really super important because we have to communicate with our spiritual team too. You know, we have a lot of thoughts going on in our brain at one time or another. And so how are they supposed to sift through all that if we don't? So we need to voice what we want from our team. We need to communicate it, whether you write it down, you say it out loud. But, you know, you can't receive what you need if you don't ask. And that's been the big thing about navigating any of the planetary energies, but Mercury in particular, because it gets a bad rap. It's not Mercury's fault. Mercury is here to help us see what needs to be changed and how we can change it. And it's also showing us how reliant we are on certain things. You know, we're very reliant on technology, and do we remember how to navigate without it? Because sometimes we do need to do that. And that's part of our lesson. Thank you, Neshi. She's saying, what a great show. Info we can all use during this retrograde. Thank you to Polly Joe and your spiritual team. Thank you. Yeah, they're really on board. And a lot of the energy that I'm hearing is, what would happen to the planet if we released blame? If we stopped blaming others for what's going on inside of us? That's when we get desensitized, when we start treating people like us versus them. And when we're in that space, whether it's with people or it's with planets or the gods, when we create distance, then we're not here and we're not present and we're not in connection as deeply as we can be. So one of the things is, okay, so Mercury's in retrograde. Where's my Mercury retrograde toolbox? I might need extra grounding. I might need a little more psychic protection. Ooh, I might need titanium on my computer so that it's not glitchy. And I'm going to wear some red fire agate because that helps me keep my communication open through the whole time. How hard is that, right? Marie's saying, so I was going to sign some papers today to start a process. Should I not? Check in, put your hand on your heart and take a deep breath and say, my spirit says, and listen to what your intuition is on that. Sometimes papers get started before Mercury goes into retrograde. So it's okay because the process got started before. You're just signing them now. But I would check in with your team and yourself to see, because you know better than anyone else. It's you and your spirit. Sound good? All right. I'm glad you enjoyed the information, Connie. So with that, you guys, I will see you tomorrow night on Soul Connections at 7 p.m. where I'll be doing our weekly healing meditation to help you connect to your team and heal what needs to be moved. And then I'll be reading Divine Oracle card readings. We're back with the Dreams of Gaia Tarot deck because she's on tap. This deck came right back out and said it's time to be used again because we need to connect to the divine feminine energy and hear her wisdom in our life. So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. So I hope to see you then. Mwah. And with that, have a great rest of your week and hope to see some of you in Marlborough at the Natural Living Expo. Ed and I will be there. Maureen will join us on Sunday, and we'd love to have you come visit Star Nations in person. All right. Bye, guys.